Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show today. We're meeting with Bob Hoffmeister, President and COO of Margaritas Mexican Restaurant. And Margaritas Mexican Restaurant has been tagged the home of the world's best margarita. Margaritas Mexican Restaurants has 19 locations throughout Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, and Connecticut, and that's coming up in segment 2 of Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Who's helping build America one small business at a time? Franchise Inc., a free consulting service.
For years, Franchise Inc., a national company, has been helping people franchise their business concept and help folks like you own a franchise.
With over 2,500 franchise systems out there, it can be awfully confusing. Don't take chances with your future. At Franchise Inc., we've done the homework for you. We can help match your interest and background with the franchise that's right for you. And we only work with proven franchise systems with a solid reputation and track record of success.
The consultants at Franchise Inc. can help you with your short and long-term wealth strategy.
Give us a call today and we'll send you free our best-selling book, Solving the Puzzle of Owning a Franchise.
Remember, it's not just owning a franchise, but finding the right one for you. Call us at 800-961-0420 for a quick consultation to discuss what's important to you, your business, and your future.
The service is free. The book is free. What do you have to lose? Find the business that's right for you.
Call Franchise Inc. at 800-961-0420. That's Franchise Inc. at 800-961-0420.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And today's show is being brought to you by Franchise Times Magazine. Franchise Times is the only publication that targets both franchisors and multi-unit franchisees, and is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise. How you doing today, Don? Welcome back.
I'm doing great this week, Marty. How are you?
Good, good. Beautiful weather here in Pennsylvania. You know, it's kind of warmed up a bit, so
right.
I'm very happy about that. You know, made it through the winter, I think.
Right, yeah, spring's right around the corner. Kids will be out playing t-ball, baseball. It's going to be nice.
Oh, you see it already. You see kids playing outside, so it really is wonderful. For our last show, Don, we met with Sam Ballas, CEO of East Coast Wings and Grill, and also Lisa Allen, who was the first franchisee to East Coast Wings and Grill, and just thought it was a great concept. It's always a lot of fun having the franchisor and franchisee on the show at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah, Sam and Lisa did a great job. It is an interesting story, and they obviously know what they're doing. I think they're putting together the franchise, building it correctly, slow, careful growth, like what we always like, not rushing to sign up new franchisees, making sure it's the right fit. And, another one of those shows where we can't wait till one of those locations are right near us or in our neighborhood.
That's so true. I have a feeling the same thing's going to happen about today's show. But, yeah, Lisa's story was great. I mean, she came from corporate America. She was a pharmaceutical sales rep, and she used the phrase that, sometimes you use it on segment one. She was tired of working for the man, is what she said, or just tired of working for somebody else. Yeah. And what was fascinating to me about this story was that she had no experience in the restaurant business, Don. What did that tell you? Is to me what I got from that story was that, that's the opportunity that franchising provides. Is you're someone working in pharmaceutical sales for 10 years, wants to go into her own business. Now she owns her own restaurant. I mean, where else, when else can something like that happen?
And we got into this on the show because I'm always intrigued by that. I guess her fear factor was maybe a little less. She wanted to be aggressive, maybe control her own destiny. A lot of people would stop and think about doing that for a year or more, And
yeah. She wasn't someone who always, I asked her, I said, if I asked you 10 years ago, did you see yourself doing this? She said, no way. So It's kind of interesting how, a lot of people, they fall into franchising. Sometimes, not to say it's by accident, but it wasn't planned like in their long-term future, and it really is amazing. It was also a story, I thought, of due diligence. I mean, she really did her homework when researching this opportunity. And I think that's what made her confident, too, when she decided to go with this particular opportunity. It was because she did so much homework. She didn't feel there was much risk. She knew she was making the best decision for her. And that's what franchising is all about. It really is about due diligence, doing your homework. The more information you have, that's ammunition to help you make a more intelligent decision.
Right. Good point.
So, yeah, absolutely. So it was a great show. I'd like to, continue following their success, and their growth, and, we'll have them back early next year to continue the story.
Yeah,
absolutely. So what do we got going on today, Don?
Bob Hoffmeister we're having on. He's the president and COO of Margaritas Mexican Restaurant franchise.
Yeah, and these shows do make you hungry, don't they?
And they're home of the world's best margarita.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you like margaritas, or?
I'm not really into that, but my wife loves them, so.
Yeah, same here. Connie's a big fan of margaritas, so... Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Next week we have the legendary Dr. Scott Shane, Born Entrepreneurs, Born Leaders is his most recent book. And,
That's really going to be interesting because this is all new territory, I guess, that you might be born with certain genetics where you can maybe be a better entrepreneur or whatever. He'll get into all that. I think that's pretty interesting.
He will, yeah. The book does blow your mind. I'm almost done with it, but it really is incredible. I mean, once you read it, you say, wow, this does make a lot of sense, And I think this whole thing started, too, as like a blog, too. I know he did a blog on this topic, and in fact, I think you might have even read it, or a portion of the article on one of our shows. We were talking about genetics and things like that. This might have been about 2 months ago, and I think it's a hot topic, It's something that people are just interested in, and he's not a scientist, he doesn't have this background in genetics, and yet it's such a fascinating subject. So I'm looking forward to having Dr. Shane back on the show. He really is incredibly knowledgeable and someone I certainly admire. So the following week after that, Don, we have Paul Mann from Fetch Pet Care. That should be interesting. We haven't had
franchise.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of them on the show, I don't think. In the 3.5 years we've been doing the show, I know we have somewhere in that category. We've spoke about pets. I just can't remember when. And then Thursday, April 8th, Ronnie Deutsch is going to be on our show as well. So
good.
It's going to be kind of interesting. Right before tax season.
Right.
So
got some good stuff lined up.
Absolutely. So it's going to be an exciting month. And, of course, the franchise show, which is the following day, isn't it? I think it's April 9th, 10th, and 11th. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that as well. So a lot of great things coming up. Yeah.
Yep.
And as always, you were up late last night. I know, scanning the globe. You had an article from last week, though, that we actually didn't finish, did we?
Didn't get a chance to finish. You just reminded me as you were talking about Lisa from East Coast Wings.
Mm-hmm.
Her end up doing something she never envisioned doing.
Right.
This article says West Palm Beach resident Lisa Simpson, in her late 40s, reached out to a consultant after it became mind-boggling trying to sort through every option, all the franchise options out there.
Mm-hmm.
She worked in banking 26 years, and when her bank was recently acquired, she took a severance package to jumpstart her dream of running a business. She filled out a franchise personality profile questionnaire to narrow her search. Her result, the painting business.
Wow.
She said, painting? Really? But the more I started looking into it, she says, there are 300 franchisees doing this, and they had a lot of training and support.
Yeah.
After paying, there's $50,000 for the franchise fee and some other costs for direct mail, software, putting her logo on her truck. She now has a CertaPro Painters franchise with her husband.
Wow.
It all came from her personal savings and that severance package. She's hoping she doesn't have to dip into her home equity.
Right.
But that's an interesting story. I guess a lot of people, even when they go into franchising, sometimes people first might look at food, a franchise, and end up not doing that, or vice versa.
It is funny, as long as we've been doing this, it seems like people's first inclination is towards food because it is such a popular category in franchising. There's just so much. But yeah, there's just so many other opportunities. I think you referenced a couple weeks ago, we're somewhere like in the range of like 80 to 90 different industries franchising in the franchise community, So there's a lot of choices out there. And it is funny when we have the franchisees on the show and we ask them, how did you pick this type of opportunity, or did you envision yourself doing this? A lot of times they say no. It's the one that occurs to me is fish window cleaning. Remember those two young guys from it was Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and they said window cleaning. I was like, are you nuts? We would never think about going into that. And they have a successful business now. So
but they looked at the big picture of the opportunity and the need in their territory.
It's as as the great Dr. Needham once said, is what do you want this franchise to do for you? Franchising is a means to an end.
Right.
It's not so much that you love the product, and we've used the expression, just because you like Dunkin' Donuts doesn't mean you should buy a Dunkin' Donuts franchise, and that applies to really anything. What do you want this franchise to do for you? Sometimes it provides a certain lifestyle for you. Do you want to? You were talking about an article, it was either last week or the week before that, about working from home opportunities or franchise opportunities, and I think one of them that came to mind was the cruise one, and I can't remember the name of it, Cruise One or something. Right. But I had a student that was interested in that franchise opportunity, and I don't know if she ever went forward with it, but that's what she wanted. She wanted to work from home because she had 3 kids, and I think she was a single mom too, so it made sense, It's just interesting what franchising has been able to do for a lot of people. Right.
Gives them an option, gives them the faster way to profitability and training support, all that stuff we've talked about for years. Exactly. It goes on here, Marty. This is through the St. Petersburg Times. They mention a few hot growth franchise areas: senior care, green, being green or green-type companies, and health, which was interesting. What came to mind is Slim and Fit personal weight loss franchise. Jamie Brankus, we had him on the show a few months back.
And when you said that, that's what occurred to me. It shows how you and I, work so well together. Because we think the same thing when you think of health. That was a powerful show, wasn't it? When we had
very
Jamie
uplifting.
On the show.
He's got a lot of energy. This Marty from Small Business Franchisors Branch Out by Marianne Stossel. Jamie Brankus may be best known for the fitness video series 8-Minute Abs, but these days he's flexing his muscles to make his mark as a franchisor. Mr. Brankus, a native of Northeast Ohio, In 2008, opened his first Slim & Fit facility in Concord, and late last year he began to franchise the concept, which incorporates fitness training and nutrition consultations into a single location. In just 1 week last month, Mr. Branca sold 7 Slim & Fit franchises.
Isn't that incredible? That's amazing. I mean, we had him on the show, was it like 6 months ago, and here he is now, selling all these franchises.
Starting to grow.
It's wonderful, and I'm not surprised, by the way.
He's selling them in Arizona, Pennsylvania, Alabama.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's wonderful to hear.
And the fitness guru says it's just the beginning. He said he's confident there'll be more than 100 Slim & Fits by the end of the year. Mr. Branca is far from alone in having lofty ambitions for his business concept. According to estimates included in the 2010 Franchise Business Economic Outlook prepared by the IFA Educational Foundation, it's expected there will be more than 900,000 business format franchise establishments in the U.S., a 2% increase from the previous year. Our belief was always to focus on the franchise aspect of it. Mr. Branca said we felt we can grow much quicker. Joe LaBava, friend of ours, we've had him on the show, he's the self-proclaimed franchise king. I think you should now, Marty, be the franchise king. But anyway.
I don't think Joe will like that. I'll have to talk to him about that.
Yeah, well, that's his name. An owner of consulting firm, franchise selection specialist, said he looks for a business that's been up and running for a period of time when considering what might make a successful franchise. I like to see something that's been around, noting that it's even better that business owner has been documenting operations along the way. I'm looking for someone that has the right thought process in mind, but it takes more than procedures and staying power to be a strong franchise candidate. It's got to be cutting edge, something that's easy to replicate. For Mr. Branca's part, he believes his business has that point of differentiation. And he said that from a financial standpoint, franchising makes the most sense. Our idea was to hit the ground running, he said. With $35,000 being the average initial franchise fee, access to capital, or if Mr. LaBava puts it, OPM, or other people's money, can be a key motivator for an entrepreneur to decide to franchise their business. Of course, it's not all about the money. Franchisors who realize the franchisee is the most important cog in the wheel are the ones that are really successful, Mr. LaBava said, and that's something you and I always emphasize, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's wonderful to hear, though, that he is doing so well. And again, I think you and I, we're not surprised to hear about that growth of Slim & Fit, It's just fantastic.
Right. This article goes on. Fred Peters, for example, opened his first original pizza pan store in 1985 in Cleveland. Today he has 75 stores. He says the relationship between franchisor and franchisee is an important one to him. For me to pick a franchisee, they not only have to like me, but I have to like them, he said.
Good quote. I like that. We always talk about the whole relationship. Yeah, that's great.
Right. He says surrounding himself with good people is critical. He said there's been a learning curve in the franchising process. I first had to realize I was no longer a pizza shop operator. I was in the business of selling franchises, he said.
Totally different animal.
As for the potential Slim & Fit franchisees, Mr. Branca is focused on investment teams, which then hire an on-site manager. Mr. Branca said he's not accepting just any franchisee. We're looking for people who literally have the passion to help people. In fact, Mr. Branca's likened franchising to parenthood. You're in control for all those years, and all of a sudden, the baby's gone to college. Okay, that's our new quote, Marty.
There you go. I think did he steal that? I think he stole that from us. No, that's great. I mean, it really is a great analogy, though. It does. It makes a lot of sense. And Jamie mentioned that when he was on our show too. I mean, what kind of franchisee he's looking for? You know, is someone who truly loves to help people. And I think that's what that opportunity does.
Yep, definitely. Here's something. I guess we've gone over this over the years. Fast food chain Wendy's and Arby's planning a massive effort to revitalize its flagging Arby's brand, rolling out a $1 menu nationwide next month and pouring millions into revamping restaurants.
I heard something about this.
The news comes after an important sales measure skidded 11% at the restaurant chain known for its roast beef sandwiches and curly fries. Revenue fell 7% as customers continue to skip its typically more expensive menu.
Wow.
We've lost a significant number of transactions and sales, the CEO, Roland Smith, says in the article. After failing to gain traction with its $5 meal deals, Arby's began testing its $1 menu last year. Well, we'll see. Things change is part of business, and things are, you have to be competitive in the food franchise or food and restaurant business. Period.
Right.
Competitive. It's a different economy, and even some of the big names have to adjust.
Do you guys have Arby's out in New Jersey?
Yes.
You do. Okay. When I was out there, I don't remember too many Arby's being out there. I mean, we have them.
Yeah, it's a favorite of mine. I love roast beef.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It's I learn something every day about every show about you. But no, it's we do have them out here. It was just funny as you're reading the article. I'm thinking to myself, wow, it's been a long time since we've been to an Arby's, and I don't know why. It's just hasn't occurred to me, I guess, to go to one. I don't know if it's advertising or whatever it may be. But we've seen these kind of stories like you mentioned on before. Whether it be Friendly's or KFC, and just kind of. Some of these franchises, I think what happens is they get a little too comfortable, don't they?
Right. Because their competition's changing and doing things and upgrading their look or coming out with new ad campaigns or special deals, and marketing and advertising works. And maybe some of those people that were going to the Arby's are now going down to McDonald's or maybe a lesser-known franchise food place because of whatever. You have to always be looking at your bottom line, of course. Right.
Well, these $5 promotions, the $5 promotions, and then the dollar menus. I mean, they're just all over the place now. It seems like everyone has them. So, I mean, if you're not doing it, you're kind of out of the loop. So,
best thing, it's better for the consumer, for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, once again, Don, great articles. I see our guest Bob is called in. So, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Okay, you've got my attention.
It's a rare event in the world of franchising when an opportunity comes your way that can and will thrive in almost any economic environment. It's here, and its name is Big Mouth Advertising.
Big Mouth.
BMA is a leader in the exciting world of mobile media advertising. Why is mobile media advertising able to defy the economic cycles? The answer is obvious. In times of economic weakness, advertising is crucial for survival as the consumer dollar is scarce and the competition fierce. What is mobile media? It's the newest and fastest growing segment in the advertising world. Mobile media brings the message directly to the consumer. Mobile media goes to the consumer in traffic, where he eats and where he plays. It quite simply cannot be turned off or thrown out. And when you join the Big Mouth team as a franchisee, you are joining the best. The Big Mouth advantage is simple and successful. We invest in a strong infrastructure and in great people. As a franchisee, you have access to this entire system, including telemarketing, sales maximization, general and administrative support, design and creative services, even billing and collection services. All you need is a mobile media vehicle, a driver, and the willingness to create a financially sound and limitless business for yourself. There are no long-term leases to sign, no expensive build-outs, no office personnel to hire. You will be part of the Big Mouth advertising community and share its entire website and reception services, as well as its complete back-office services. This virtual office guarantees you the freedom to close those sales that will make you a success. We are so proud of our successes that we have voluntarily disclosed our revenue statements. Now, how many other franchises are doing that? Even in these historically rough financial times, Big Mouth Advertising has become a dominant force in the mobile media industry. Join the Big Mouth team and take the first step toward financial freedom. Please call Ron at 888-98-GO-BIG. That's 888-98-GO-BIG. Big Mouth! Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And as we were saying earlier, Don, we have a great show today because we're meeting with Bob Hoffmeister, President and COO of Margaritas Mexican Restaurant. And Margaritas Mexican Restaurant has been tagged the home of the world's best margarita. And they have 19 locations throughout Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, and Connecticut. Hey, Bob, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Marty. How are you?
Oh, terrific, Bob. Thank you. Bob, joining us is my co-host, Don Johnson, and I know, Don, you wanted to say good morning to Bob.
Hi, Don.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Excited to hear all about margaritas and what's the secret to that excellent margarita.
I can't give you that.
The secret recipe, right? There you go. Bob, we always like to ask our guests where they're calling from this morning to get an idea what the weather is there today.
I'm in Portland, Maine, and it's
nice.
beautiful here. It's sunny, not too cold. It's a beautiful day.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And what were you doing, Bob, before joining Margaritas Mexican Restaurants?
Well, I was the key role that I had beforehand was I was the head of development for Au Bon Pain, which is a bakery cafe.
Okay.
About 200 locations, internationally and domestically. And previous to that, I was the senior VP of Applebee's operations.
Oh, fantastic.
And out in Kansas City. And then I kind of grew up with Fridays. I spent the first 16 years of my career at Fridays, where I actually was later when the company did start franchising. I was in charge of that as well as company operations. Wow,
that's fantastic. So I'm sure you got some great experience from all those establishments.
Oh, I do. I was very fortunate to work for those companies. I learned a lot, and it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So this is really right up your alley.
Yeah.
You come to Margaritas, and look at all the food experience and franchising, corporate experience on all levels. Probably you had. So it's probably a lot of fun for you.
Well, thank you. Honestly, it's the best job I've ever had. It's a pure joy.
That's great.
To talk about, Bob, the history of when Margarita started, when you started franchising.
The company has a long history. It was started by John Pelletier in 1986. First restaurant was Concord. So we have been at this for nearly a quarter of a century. The company grew very opportunistically through conversions. And, the owner brothers, John and David Pelletier, they would open a restaurant. They would find an opportunity with typically another restaurant that had gone out of business, and they'd go in and convert it, which is really the model that we're promoting for our new franchisees, as conversions are so much more cost-effective.
Right.
And so, our last restaurant we opened wasn't a conversion, which was a year and a half ago in Dover. We're opening up another one here in a couple of weeks in Lexington, Mass., and then 2 months from now, we're opening one in Bedford, Mass., and we may have 2 other openings this year as well, all company restaurants.
That's fantastic.
And
so go ahead.
Soon afterwards, Bob, the first few opened up. I guess it was pretty obvious that this was a real franchisable type business.
It really was. My predecessor, Sean Joyce, who was so instrumental in forming a strong company, basically retired a few years ago. And that's how I got this opportunity. And that's really when the company turned its attention to franchising. Margaritas could have been franchising literally 15 years ago with a strong model, a very profitable organization, high sales. It just didn't choose to do it. So John and David, when they hired me, of course, they recognized what my background was, and they were very interested in growing at a more rapid rate, a controlled, more rapid rate. So that's how it came to be. We're really new into the franchising business. We've, put our model together last year and got all the legal stuff done and beefed the company infrastructure up. So I hired a director of training. We put a new head of franchise development in place. We hired an executive chef. Martha Leahy has just done wonders in improving the company's profitability. So we're really poised. I believe of all the companies that I have had the pleasure of working with, we are, in my opinion, the most ready to franchise of any of the others.
Interesting.
It is, yeah. And it's Mexican is one of those categories too, Bob. It's funny, in this part of Pennsylvania. I mean, the biggest complaint is that there are no really good quality Mexican restaurants around. I think that's a popular comment from a lot of people. So I'm looking forward to you guys eventually hitting Pennsylvania. Because
I'm looking forward to being there.
Oh, absolutely. You're not that far off. It's just a couple states away.
Right.
You see how you guys are crawling down. It's so that's fantastic.
So, so for margaritas, what what really separates? What is it? Is it the combination of price, of the quality of the food, how the store looks, the promotion? I mean, is it all that combined, Bob? What really stands out? You feel the most?
I'd be happy to speak to that. Our competitive advantages are a couple of main things. One is we have a 45% liquor, beer, and wine mix. 25% of our total sales are margaritas. When I first heard that, as a lot of people might, they go, "Oh my God, it's a saloon."
Yeah. Right.
But it's not. It is. The thing I like to say to people, if you close your eyes and imagine the Fridays 20 years ago, and the clientele that was in there, that's what our clientele looks like.
Wow.
Somewhat affluent, young,
right.
upwardly mobile, very dynamic place. So there's that. There's the energy. There's the great drinks, the great margaritas. Our food, has been pampered over the years. It's delicious. It's authentic. The restaurant themselves, again, when somebody's never been in a Margaritas, and maybe neither one of you gentlemen have been, and you close your eyes and you picture a Mexican restaurant, you're not seeing margaritas.
Right.
I mean, we're just, the brothers go to Mexico several times a year. They collect, art objects. So the restaurants are tastefully filled with art. They look like galleries. So visually, the restaurants are stunning. And then you've got the energy, with just the fun, festive atmosphere, and then you combine that with food that, is really craveable. That's it. I mean, it's basic stuff, but it's different than most all other places. The other competitive advantage we have when it comes to franchising is the 45% liquor, beer, and wine mix. You guys, I'm sure, know there's a lot of money in that. There's a lot of profit in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our cost of goods is low, so our gross profit is very high. We run a 24.8% EBITDAR.
Wow.
That's cash flow before rent. And that's way significantly over what other franchisors, are able to do. I heard mentioned when I was listening to your show before I got on, I heard mentioned the disclosure, the financial disclosure, and 70% of all franchisors don't disclose in what's called the Item 19.
Right.
And we do. So, we're proud of our numbers. We feel that we are, clearly one of the best investment opportunities for a franchisee. And at the end of the day, that really is what it's about.
Has there been any pullback because of the economy and how things are right now? Has that hurt the growth, or you're so confident with with the brand that it's just full steam ahead?
Well, the irony of it is it's worked to our advantage. I mean, last year for every one restaurant built, 7 went out of business. So there's an awful lot of inventory out there.
Right.
And we're opening 4 restaurants this year. I mean, 2 are under construction, and 2 the leases are almost completed, and that's a lot for a 19-unit chain.
Right.
So the reason is that there's so many opportunities out there. Real estate,
right.
Restaurants that have gone out of business. That it's much more cost effective to grow now than it was.
Yeah, we've seen that too. Yeah, we've seen that, Bob, a lot. It's talking about some of the opportunities that came about with the recession in 2009. Is there are some killer lease spaces available for opportunities, like yourself.
Well, really
some great deals being made too, for lease space as well. So I think it's really an exciting time to get into something like this.
It is for us. A lot of people are hunkering back. The big chains, as you I'm sure are aware, have stopped expanding for the time being.
Right.
And that just creates a wonderful opportunity for us.
Guys,
the big guys are slowed down or stopped, and yet there's lots of vacant spaces, many of which fit a Margaritas.
That's true. And with the item 19, I have a feeling you guys are going to attract a lot of accountants and financial types too. To your opportunity when they see those things, because as you said, there's not a lot of franchisors that actually put that information in there. So I think that's a strong testimonial to your franchise as well. So it is interesting.
Yeah, that's always bewildered me that people don't do it, because you're attracting an investor, and if you're not able to disclose what kind of money you're making in your own business,
absolutely,
it creates some doubt. It would create some doubt in me, anyway.
Absolutely.
You mentioned before, Bob, this is the best job you've had. Is it mainly because you're building something, like maybe a little more creativeness than some of the other jobs you've had?
There's that, but I'm really proud of this business. And this may sound a little warm and fuzzy, but culturally, Margaritas is an amazing company. The 2 brothers, they've grown slowly. They're great people. Our turnover rate is really low in our management staff and our hourly employees. Retention, on the other hand, is very, very high. I mean, I was here for the first few months I was here. I went to the director of HR and I said, Kelly, produce the management turnover report for me. And she looked at me and she said, what?
Wow.
We don't have one. So, our turnover is about 75% lower, actually, than industry average in both management ranks and hourly employees. People love it here.
That's incredible.
And we just do a lot. We do a lot to preserve it, enhance it. It's the strongest culture of any company I know of.
Well, that's a strong endorsement. Yeah, I mean, because you've worked some pretty big names there too, Bob. So it says a lot. That you can say that. What types of characteristics will you guys be looking for in your franchisees? I mentioned you'll be attracting like a lot of accountants and financial types when they see the financial aspects of the business. But is anything about the personality that you guys are going to be looking for?
Well, we're looking for a pretty rarefied group. We're looking for people that have deep pockets. We're only interested in area development agreements of 5 restaurants or more. We're looking for people who have demonstrated success in business, preferably either retail or restaurant.
Okay.
And, those are the 2 keys you got to have to come in the door. The third is, and I heard you guys talking about the fellow that was on previous to me, they've got to fit.
Right.
They've got to be fun. They've got to be good people. Sense of humor, ambitious, and we've got to like them.
Right, because it is a partnership.
Yeah, it really is.
Talk about,
it's
a relationship, and those aspects are very, very important.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like hiring a manager. After you interview a manager, if you're not elated and you like that person and you want to work with that person,
right,
you don't hire them.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it's probably even deeper than that, too, because I guess a manager you can fire and a franchisee you kind of have trouble.
Yeah, you kind of can't.
So it makes it a little more difficult at times,
Yeah.
It's something. Bob, we have to take a quick break. Can you stick around for another segment?
Sure.
That's fantastic. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Okay.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com. Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host Marty McDermott with my co-host Don Johnson, and if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show today. We're meeting with Bob Hoffmeister, President and COO of Margaritas Mexican Restaurant. And Margaritas Mexican Restaurant has been tagged the home of the world's best margaritas. And Don, I think you're up. Don, I think you're up.
Hello, Bob.
Hey, Don.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about training and how that's going to be, for the future franchisees. I'm sure you're going to have a nice program.
Well, we actually will just put them through our traditional management training program, which is really robust. It's about 10 weeks long. It's pretty much what companies that are established do. Every function, hourly function in the restaurant, all the administrative function. Then they spend a week, the management training, POS training, everything. We take our time with training, and we feel that it's not perfect, but we think that when people emerge from our training program, they really are set up for success.
Yeah, the restaurant business is a little tricky, in that. The person who's paying, really expects everything to be perfect. The service, the food, you want to maximize that person coming back and to spread the word of mouth. So I guess there's so many little details. You've been in food for many years, and I guess that's part of training, to really have that system in place and the details and,
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's why one of the people I brought on board was a really good director of training. He was a director of training for the 99 company for 8 years and for Legal Seafoods for 8 years. He's a pro, and he's even enhanced what I consider to be a really good training program, and he's added to it and made it even better. So training ranks up there with one of the most important things I think about.
Are you going to need, you mentioned as far as new franchisees have to be likable, ambitious, and everything. I mean, is it a requirement they have to have food experience or restaurant experience in some of your new franchisees?
No, because normally the franchisee is going to, he will be the person that has had a lot of success in another business. It could be a restaurant. We would seek for that, but not necessarily. And that person, although they will be, deeply exposed in our training and have to go through it, the people that he or she hires will be, we will co-select them.
Right.
And the company takes a part in that. And so those people will be put through, the rigors of the training process too. But a potential franchisee does not have to be a current franchisee in the food business or operator in the food business. Preferable, though.
Right.
Okay. Before Marty talked to you about characteristics, you've just been in the franchising game a while. What other advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur just looking to buy a franchise, Bob?
Well, you own your own business, and when you own your own business, you have to be completely and passionately devoted to it. Mm-hmm. And not everybody is like that,
Right.
And so you have to have that kind of characteristic, that kind of passion, work ethic. You've got to be bright. The restaurant business throws a lot of things at you every day. It's one of the things that makes the industry so much fun, too. But it's, not like being, not disparaging lawyers, but not like being, going to the office every day and doing kind of the same thing. It's always a little different. I kind of refer to it as showtime. It's like a theater. The curtains come up at 11:30 when you open for lunch, and you're on stage.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great analogy. Yeah. What about the location factor, Bob? If you can go a little deeper on that, like what is the ideal location for Margaritas?
We compete. When you start to look at the demographics and psychographics, we have a company that we've partnered with called Buxton that takes our core customer and literally analyzes their density in the eastern seaboard. So we know, hypothetically, if you could fly a Margaritas into Philadelphia, we know where we would put it. Now, we may not be able to do that, but we know exactly, the kinds of the markets that we want to be in, the places in the markets that we want to be in by a whole variety of factors: population density, income, traffic, drive time, stuff like that. That kind of thing is very scientific these days. So we've analyzed the eastern seaboard. We know the markets that we want to be in. We want to be in Virginia, the Carolinas, Philadelphia, D.C., and we know where in those markets are the best locations. Then it's a matter of finding sites. And as we talked about earlier, those sites are more plentiful these days.
Right. That's interesting. What are your plans for the future, Bob? I mean, like how, the growth has been, as you said, I mean, you guys probably could have started franchising, you said, over a decade ago. How quickly would you like to grow? Are there any plans for that?
Well, we've got pretty heady plans. We're going to do hub and spoke. So we want our first franchisees to be reasonably nearby.
Okay. So
that we can give them support more easily.
Right.
So Massachusetts, the SMA of Boston is enormous. We would carve out sections of that. And we want to stay on the eastern seaboard. There's 50 restaurant opportunities in the combination of Virginia and the Carolinas. You sprinkle in D.C. So that's what we want to do. We want to go down the eastern seaboard. Potentially, if things are loosening up now, by the way, our pipeline of prospective franchisees is 5 times greater than it was this time last year. So, like a lot of people say, 2010 still hasn't shrugged off all the doldrums yet, but it's really starting to. So the math is if we signed up 5 franchisees this year and they had area development agreements of 10 restaurants in 5 years, there's the math. And the company is on a roll. We have the resources to open more and more. We're opening 4 restaurants this year, and that gives us the ability to open more than that next year because we'll have more people.
For people listening, Bob, people maybe have been in the restaurant business or looking to get into franchising, and the demographics. Is there more of a demand for for Mexican food? Is that the trend? It's nice to be in a niche food service for the most part.
It's a fascinating situation. The Mexican food industry today has the kind of resonance that Italian did in this country 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like when John and David Pelletier started this company, there wasn't a Mexican restaurant in New England, I don't think. And, it has become a favorite cuisine.
Yeah.
And, it's anybody's guess as to why that is. But I personally think it's because people have taken a stronger stand towards quality.
Right.
When you think about
I think I disagree with you on that, Bob. My twins, I have 5-year-old twins. My son Ryan, his favorite food is tacos. So you should look at the 4, 5, 6-year-old. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's right. And my wife and I, we love Mexican food, Bob. We just can't seem to find in this particular area where we are in Pennsylvania, we just can't find a true Mexican restaurant, So it's just, we're waiting, I don't know what, someone's waiting for to come out to this area. And I guess, it's like you say, demographics and psychographics and all that other stuff. Maybe it's just not a match yet, but
well, you see the proliferation more in the fast casual, fast food sector.
Yeah.
Qdoba and Chipotle. I mean, those guys have gotten pretty big pretty fast.
Yeah, it's true. It's interesting. For our listeners, Bob, what's the best way for them to get more information on becoming a Margaritas Mexican Restaurant franchisee? Is there any websites they can go to?
Just go to the website, Margs, MARGS.com. There's a franchise tab on the website. It has everything you need to know. Who to contact, what you need resource-wise, everything.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you again, Bob. You've been a fantastic guest, and I'm waiting for you guys to come to Philadelphia.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks so much, Bob. Have a great day.
Thank
and
you,
New
Bob.
Jersey.
Right.
That's fantastic. It's a great show, huh? How done?
Yeah, what a background he's had with all those companies.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty well-known
strong
names.
background. These shows are killing me, though. I'm just starving after all the shows.
Yeah.
It's just last 2 weeks have been killers, So,
I have to get my son Ryan in there at some point during the show. It's his favorite food, tacos. I'm going to tell him I mentioned him on the show today. He'll be all happy.
He will. He's going to have to go back and listen to the archives,
Yeah.
So, so great job today, Don. And again, next week we have another interesting show. We have Dr. Scott Shane talking about genetics and entrepreneurship. So, looking forward to that one. And you did a great job today, Don.
You too.
And I'll be talking to you next week.